That's so funny. Now I put a link in today with flowers that I put in there specifically for you in today's class, because they have a list of black flowers.
Me?
Yeah, they're just different flowers that you normally see for your front garden. You'll like them. I know, that's why I'm challenging you. But they're really, dark purple, but.
Right.
Yeah. Mary Sage, where have you been?
Hello, darling.
I want to just hug you.
I know.
Welcome to class.
Nice to see you.
Right. Well, this is great. Okay, so it's 9:03. We're going to let everybody kind of jump in. I think we've got 3 or 4 more coming.
We had 2 that registered this morning. So
yeah. Well, Jamie's still coming. Rosie's still coming. Who else?
People I don't know.
No worries. They'll pop in. Okay. Well, Donna, let's do your update. Since you were here first, besides my dream of a bag of kittens.
Yeah.
Anything better.
I have contacted Janet Mills.
Oh, good.
She's going to help me figure out what went wrong with version 2 of my coloring book. And it was just nice to have that conversation about graphic artists. And anyway, that felt like a really big thing to start moving on that topic that's been just no fun for me for a long time.
Right. And I'm going to just invite everybody to use the chat. So Donna, because Mary's new, you got to introduce yourself.
So my name is Donna McCurdy, and I have a business called NW2. It's a corporation, and my first business venture is a venture called Soccer Birds. And the first product of Soccer Birds is a coloring book. Soccer birds are these wonderful creatures who have all this enthusiasm for soccer, and the beautiful thing is that they don't have a gender, a nationality, or a league affiliation, so that any child looking at this book or looking at these characters doesn't have to be like, oh, I love the soccer part. Oh,
there it is.
Karen. Then if you show the back cover, you can just see it's just birds playing soccer. Yeah.
But it is also the only coloring book on the market that is gender, that is this type of product.
Right. It's just doesn't have. And so the original concept so long ago was for it to be a fundraiser for little teams to raise funds. And then I went on this whole loop and so now I'm back talking with Janet Mills, my graphic artist, about how, the how-to of, okay, if somebody contacted me tomorrow about this is a great idea for a fundraiser, what do we need to do? I'm making up a mock version of what a fundraiser could look like. Your logo could go on the front cover, your team's name, play with the Soccer Birds.
Oh, perfect.
And I need an ad for the back cover, Mickey. And I was thinking, oh, we should put a My Match ad on the back cover. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, it has potential. You can put ads. The staple of the book is the halftime of the soccer game. So that's like a really good place to put ads if you were so motivated to sell ads for your team and your community.
Right.
So anyway, a little bit of a different story this time in my check-in, huh?
Those are big wins. Those are big wins. Okay. Well, Mary Sage, that's how it goes. So I'm going to put you in. To give us your introduction. Make sure you put in your stuff in the side.
Okay.
The chat bin.
Okay.
And the chat bin comes with the recording. So if you don't get it written down right away, it'll come. Karen sends it out.
Awesome.
All right. So Mary Sage, give us your intro.
Okay, hold on. I got to make a small adjustment here. Sorry about that. Adjusting my space. I've got this like super bright window. I'm not used to being on Zoom at this time in the morning. So hello, This was super auspicious timing. I had an acupuncture scheduled at 10 and it got canceled. And in the same moment, NW2 popped up and I was like, I'm going. That's just a
Good.
total sign that it's time to reconnect with Mickey Mike Worth and Karen and whoever other fabulous women are in here. So I have a business called Sage Wellbeing, and I teach meditation, yoga, and do body work, and mostly teaching online courses and holding women's circles. And doing a little bit of body work in person on a very small scale during the pandemic.
Good.
So
Good.
that's
Well, welcome to
what I'm
class.
up to.
Welcome to class. So again, if you ever have a question or something like that, just type it in the chat box. We are virtual, so it kind of works out that way. Sandy Cleland, I'm going to go on to you. You've got big news, huh?
I do.
I'm hoping.
I'm Sandy Cleland. I'm a residential real estate agent with Remax Results. My office is in Edina. I live in Southwest Minneapolis, so I work mostly on the, the Minneapolis side of town, the west side, but I work all over. So I'm just, just perking along, working with, buyers and sellers. I think it's going to be another, good year for sellers. Easy to sell their house, getting multiple offers, and a little more challenging for buyers. But I just got one of my buyers, let's see, on their fourth offer, they got one accepted, and they're so excited. They are going to buy a fantastic old house in Hastings. And as it turns out, the two guys actually know each other from 20 years ago. So Mr.
Wow.
was like, I think I know the buyer and he's a great guy. And I really feel great selling to him because the house has been in my family for so long. So they're super excited, and their inspection's tomorrow. And then I had a listing that sold, of course, with a bunch of offers, and, it's crazy. So anyway, I think it's going to be another year like that. And what I'm working on, just working on my marketing. So last year I did for my neighborhood farm, which if you don't know, real estate agents, many times we do, it's called farming, geographic farming. And we'll just mail to a neighborhood over and over, until we get some leads. and then you can market that. And then you get more listings like in an area that you really want to work in, which is like my neighborhood. So last year I did very consistently a postcard each month that was already pre-planned. It went out, a company did it for me, so I didn't have to worry about preparing this postcard so that worked really well. But I don't really like the postcards. They're extremely impersonal. And so this year I'm going to do a more like a newsletter, but it's still going to be a postcard, but it's going to be 8.5 by 11 newsletter style, sent out by every door direct mail. Mickey can tell me what she thinks about that.
Oh, they're great. They get the job done.
Okay. Yeah. So I could send out more mailings, hopefully for, the same amount of money. And,
You have a big minimum there. I mean, like.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. The areas are small enough. So, that I can just.
Right. But you have to do like, so many thousands of households.
Yes. So the other one I was doing was probably between 1,100 and 1,200.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So with every door direct mail, I'll probably do a little bit more, and hopefully it will be about the same price.
Perfect.
And so I want to do an article, just like a personal message from me, maybe a local business spotlight, and then a list of houses that sold in the area. Right. In the last month, because people like to see that. So that is my update.
That's a great update. And you already have a newsletter, so this will be really actually a way to utilize the resource and kind of double on it. Are you going to cross those two pieces of having the newsletter that you're sending out by virtual be the same?
Yes, I would like to utilize some of it. So the one newsletter goes out weekly.
Mhm.
And so definitely I can use those articles. I just
Right.
have, yeah.
So that's just another way to kind of make the investment more productive, is to take something you've already built here and now, fan it out in that way. And that's how I would think about that product,
Okay.
is to go, okay, I'm going to invest in this body of information. This is what I'm going to say with my brand. And here's how I'm going to fan it out.
Okay. Perfect.
So it's just so much easier because you actually have a lot of content. I mean, you've been sending out a weekly newsletter for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to, yes.
And it's content you've already paid for.
Right. Right.
Right. Okay. Christine, let's go to you. Hey, welcome. I'm glad to see you live.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Give us your introduction. Type your info in the side.
Yeah, I will do my best to give my introduction. This is my first time here, so I'm excited. What I do is I'm a life coach. I have been a coach my whole life, but on a whole new, deeper level now. For 30 years, I coached athletes, and now I help women really explore and nurture their love personality, basically, so that they can show up authentically in their relationship. What else do I share in the introduction?
Anything you're working on right now, or it's kind of an open conversation.
Yeah, I'm working on filling up my practice, and I'm doing that in all sorts of different ways. I've been sending out a weekly newsletter. Well, if I just be exclusive to this 3-year business, every week plus more during events. What else am I doing? I do a webinar, which I am modifying this month. I'm going to present it 5 different times, but I'm modifying it around, I was calling it the relationship fix. Now I'm calling it relationship rehab, which I'm not fully in love with. So I'm sort of embracing this new, after I became a certified life coach, I explored really who I wanted to help. And so I'm still kind of digging into that. And so I'm not sure I love relationship rehab, but I know that it's going to. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working on delivering that webinar, and knowing that the more I deliver it, the closer I can get to who I help and how I help them.
I like
So
it.
I think
I like
that's
it.
it.
Well, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Danny, give us your update.
I have been working on,
And make sure you introduce yourself.
I'm Danny. I own, or will own, A Little Dirt Don't Hurt, which is now expanded to soap made with essential oils. I got a little carried away, so I'm going to send all of it out because it's cluttering my house. I am a florist, or will be. And I'm really looking right now into how to get trademark and how to get licensing for licensed product. So I can do Wonder Woman and Batman in a bouquet. And I need to have permission to use those logos.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Well, we'll put it out there. Now, we should, next time we should end up with some pictures that you can pop into the message board. I think that would be helpful to people understand. But here's what, for those of you who are new to Danny, she can make a bouquet so that when you look at it from the top, it has the Batman insignia in it in flowers. And she can do the same with Wonder Woman. It's kind of fantastic.
I'll find the Wonder Woman picture.
Yeah, I would definitely share it with the group. Okay, so you also were working on so last time you were working on your website and you got that going. How's the populating of the website going?
Very slow.
Okay. Well, you have a new job, one.
Yes.
You're a single mom, two.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go there.
Distance learning, you know.
Distance learning, right.
So
it's slow.
it's going a little slow. I am also working with doTERRA essential oils. So that kind of, but a big class on how to get the business going with that.
Right.
So my website is sort of slowly moving. I'm probably going to do a lot of work on it today, so I have time.
Good, good. Okay, Janet Mills and then Karen Carson, we're coming to you.
Hello, Janet Mills. Just like Mickey said, she never lies. My main client is a magazine.
Oh, good, you brought them.
Well, I'm in my office today, so I just
like
picked it up. And today I'd like to, and why I'm here today, first of all, it's always rewarding, always learn a lot. But today my niece, who grew up just down the block, is 30, it's her birthday. And she has in San Francisco a business called Clues Collective. And we tried it on Zoom, where she crafts this whole mystery and everyone on the mystery has a role. And it just made for a better family get together over the holidays because it breaks up the family dynamics. And what she wants for her birthday is a testimonial on Yelp.
Oh,
and we're testimonials today. And then what I did for my learning this week, because I pledged to do that a few months ago, was I'm in AIGA, a Designers Guild, and I watched competition last week. So it was young designers came up with the last meeting, the last NW2, and then the veterans judged them. And we had our own person, Marvin Chang from Minneapolis, representing us.
Oh, good.
And they had to redo the Zoom logo, and they had 1 week. And then they had 24 hours to do a campaign on the misinformation and disinformation that for 60 years, the fossil fuel industry has put out to make us not know they're wrecking the planet, and they only had 24 hours. Anyway,
oh, wow.
So that was my fun education for this week. I think I'll pass.
Good for you. Okay, Karen Karsten, give us your update, and then Kathy, I'm coming down to you.
Oh, good morning, I think.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for hosting.
Well, let's see, what have I been doing? Everything. I've been doing a lot of Zoom classes. Most of them are in arts. I'm a life coach, and I've been trying to think of things that would help some of my clients deal with stress. And so I did a couple of things. I did a little mini book on doodling, and I also did a mini memoir, which is like, it folds up into a little book. So I got really kind of in love with the mini memoir part of it, where you pick one little incident and then you just make this little book about it, and you finish it. That's what I really like about it, is that you finish it.
Right, and then you finish it.
Yes.
Will you hold it up again?
Yeah, that sounds
I have one already folded up here somewhere, but I think I moved it.
And then this is great.
And it's this one is about fireflies, because when I was a kid, very small kid, we lived out in the country, and it was very dark when it was dark. And so we would see these little things coming down from the sky, and we thought they were stars for a long time, but they weren't. They were fireflies.
That's so cute.
And when we moved to a bigger town, we didn't see them anymore, because fireflies reproduce by flashing messages to each other. That's why they flash. And if there's a lot of light, they can't see each other.
Right.
So they're dying out because of habitat problems.
Right.
Yeah. And I've been doing some origami just to frustrate myself like crazy. I'm looking for someone that can actually show me step by step how to do that little crane thing.
Oh, I am sure someone here knows how to do a crane. That says
Other
Danielle.
than that, just working on the website a little bit and getting ready for your class, Mickey.
Yeah, I got new
You
classes.
going to talk about that?
Yeah, I will. I'll get oh, there's Sandy Cleland. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course
your,
Bruce can do
your
it.
husband can do everything because
Yeah,
origami is
Of
kind of
course
like
he
magic.
can. Of course he can. Yes, I'll bring up my classes next. Kathy,
Okay.
give us your update. You have lots of big news too.
I don't know if I have a lot of big news. I have some big news. I have 2 potentially new clients. One for sure is I've been hired, and the other one asked me for the contract, and I'm meeting with her today. So I'm excited about that. That's fun. I have 2 big projects that are finishing. I had my first photo shoot on my own yesterday.
Good.
And what I mean by photo shoot isn't like somebody came and took pictures of me, or that I took pictures. I paid somebody to do a photo shoot on one of my projects that just finished. And I've spent the last 10 days, 15 days buying stuff to style the house and then practicing styling, which has been an adventure.
You gotta introduce yourself because nobody knows what you do.
Oh, I'm Kathy, and well, everyone knows, everybody here now. I am a selection designer. So I help people and contractors take the frustration out of the design process by helping clients select plumbing fixtures, paint, hardware, flooring, and making sure everything looks cohesive and beautiful and magical, and also functions well within your real life, because it doesn't matter how beautiful something is if it doesn't function well.
And the name of your company is?
Everything Beautiful.
Right.
I'm obviously very prepared today. Can you tell?
Yeah. You know what? Everybody looks big, great when you're this size, you know. Mary Sage, I do want to tell that secret about you when it comes to paint. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yes. So Mary Sage years ago was a, what would I call you? A paint designer?
Color consultant.
A color consultant. And she owned a company called Chromology.
I've heard of Chromology.
Yeah. Well, that's her past life.
Yes.
Yeah. So
can you be my best friend and teach me about paint?
Yes.
Right.
Yay.
Right. And I think, Mary Sage, you also know a lot about doTERRA, don't you?
More Young Living, but lots about essential oils.
Yeah, lots about essential oils.
So,
Danny, you may want to connect right there.
yeah.
Okay, so what am I up to? Well, Karen's right. I got another set of stock classes coming. We don't have exactly the day figured out right now, but that was a big deal. What else is new for me? So my name is Mickey Mikeworth. I am your leader today. We're going to go through the class. I'm super excited about our class. And Kathy, I'm going to warn you in advance that you are my example today. So we got a couple of treasures in today's post for everybody. So I've got stock classes coming back. So if you didn't take the basics of stock market, the first 2 aren't coming back, but the 3, 4, and 5 are. So, and then we can send you a way to catch up as well. But so the stock market classes are going well. They always sell out. So glad to see that. I joined another, a really expensive networking group with other CFOs. So it's all, these great women who work in these really hard jobs. And the first day that I got in there, within 20 minutes, they solved my problem that had been bugging me for a month. And I went, you guys, like I almost cried, where they're like, no, you have to do it this way. And they just like, bam, just solved it. So that was my big win of like, I'm truly in a Zoom call like this. I'm in the Matchmobile. I'm outside of an event And in the, you know, like in the car, having this meeting, telling them everything that I need done. And it's snowing like crazy outside. And it's, you know, 3 PM, bright, sunny. I'm inside of a car and they're just solving all my problems. I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing. So, so that was my big win. And so then the person who hosts that front runner group, she was like, you know, worried that I wouldn't enjoy it. And I'm like, oh, I'm never not coming to class. I am never not coming to class. To have 12, you know, that's what I like about this class, right? You get all of these people who are super smart and they're around you and here to help you and so forth. So it was the first time I could find a group that I liked as much as you guys. So, you know, you guys solve everything.
That's so
like
sweet.
that.
I'm happy for you, Mickey.
I know. It's fun. It's fun. And they can do the really, really, really hard math, which I personally love. You know, like if you can do hard math in your head, like it's too hard. Do you see how I'm stuttering? Like I'm gushing because I love their math so much. I love their math. And you can ask them like really hard questions. And I'm like, I thank you, God, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to go into today's class. This is also your chance. So everybody's kind of getting in. Does anybody, we have some new people here. Does anyone have a question for your new people at all or need further stuff? Okay, I'm going in then.
I found the folded up one.
Oh, good.
And it folds up like this into the pages.
Oh, cute. With one
Yeah.
piece of paper.
Yeah, one piece of paper with a dead firefly on the back.
Very cute. Very cute. Okay, so we're going to go into testimonials. Okay, and you guys can see my screen, okay? Whoops. Okay. PowerPoint has detected graphics it doesn't like. Okay, so again, testimony, right? Testament, right? We're giving evidence. We're doing these other things. What I want you to kind of take out of today is, right, how to ask for a testimonial. Where would your testimonial be? Remember, all of you are really focusing in on what is your virtual life, right? Where's your virtual home? Because some of you are seeing clients live, but the vast majority of you are going to have a virtual home that's either on a website or it's on a Facebook page or somewhere, right? Where's your virtual home? So you have to look at how do you need testimony that leads someone to that virtual home. So what are the evidence, facts, qualities, feelings, that what is it that you want as a conversation driven about what you do? And you know, I'm always going to push you back to cash cow, right? So here's an example of gush, gush, gush. Kathy, this is from Kathy. I went on her line. So one of the ways that you can help Kathy today is to look it up on Google. Everything beautiful. And you can, if you haven't had their services, one of the ways that you can do is you can just give it a thumbs up to someone else who gave a review to be like, hey, I like what they're saying, right? You can still help the cause by just giving a thumbs up. So this is one that was from Kathy. One of the things that Kathy actually gets some credit for today is that she has consistent reviews that are about one every month. So that is another piece for you, for those of you who are using it as a map base. So this is on Google. It is actually from Google Map. And that is kind of who took it over. This is what came up in my score last night. So this is, right. So with my clients, with people that I know, that I'll go, hey, let me write a review for you. So this is just on my pictures that, you know, hey, thanks for adding these photos to Google Maps. Here's what happens, right? that 80,000 people were making decisions based on pictures I posted. So when you look at that as pictures, things like that, you're going to want to do that. The homework that I'm going to give everybody today, to kind of give you the homework in advance, you can think about it as we kind of go through all of these pieces, which are really the same best business questions, right? Why are you different, right? And that why is sometimes not the physicality, it may be the thought process, right? That you're different because you may have a different set of values or beliefs or something like that, right? So we'll use Kathy's as an example, right? That everything is beautiful. Everybody's going to enjoy having a beautiful space and one that they can afford. So sometimes the why is not just a product. It may be a mentality of how you deliver. I would look at those top 10 reasons why you would hire yourself. And that is sometimes, if you look at the people who have hired you in the past, I'll look from my piece is that sometimes people have hired me because of a person that I was in the past. Sometimes people are hiring me because they saw something that I did. Some people, hire me because they just think I'm sparkly, right? So like, okay, that's fine. And then look at those 10 reasons. I need you to go back to those 10 reasons and look at them and to say, hey, how profitable are those, right? And how many other people have those advantages? Look, everybody can be sparkly, right? Sparkly doesn't pay the bills. In my life, math pays the bills, right? So I'm sparkly and I can do math.
I disagree. Not everybody can be sparkly. I think many of us want to be sparkly.
Fair enough.
I don't know that. Oh, anyway.
Fair enough. So, but whatever that is, right? And then the other one is to really define your cash cow. We have to really work on everybody's cash cow this year because so many of you have new products launching. So I think I had a different class plan for March, but I think I may end up going back to cash cow because just hearing where everybody's at, I think that's going to be the one now. Okay, so just kind of to be real now, how many of you, just kind of a share of hands, how many of you left a review? How many of you left a review for somebody else? Okay. Yeah. And so one of the things I do want you to think about in this group or other groups that you're in is really looking at who are you co-creating with, right? Who are who's your posse? Who are you creating with? And looking at the reviews that's there. Janet, your niece is a really great example, right? Of, hey, let me reach out and let my other people that I'm co-creating with, or my family or my people, write a review for me because it really matters. It really matters. So if you want a review, you may want to do that. When you start to look at the types of reviews that you have, there's some different ways that you can do that, right? You can talk about what are the benefits. For those of you who have an office, I really do encourage everybody to have reviews that other people gave them in your physical office. I'll frequently put them on a screen and have them rolling with what other people are saying because that it does something to the psyche. So I'll use the dentist office as an example, right? They all have a screen in there. You're all sitting in there and you're kind of watching it, right? So sometimes I make them put a joke up or, like keep the content interesting. But to keep content interesting is also to tell somebody what they didn't know. So having that kind of rolling screen in your system and testimonials have become actual digital assets. So when you start to look at a testimonial, I do need you to change them in your mind to really understand that this is a digital asset. This is part of the valuation of your company. So, so use those assets exactly like we talked about for Sandy, right? How do you take something you received and now fan it out, right? How do we get that testimonial to be on your LinkedIn, to be on your other thing? And that is to make it, you know, a different type of image that you send out, right? Once it's been given, you now own that. And now how are you going to use that asset? And holding it captive just on Yelp or something like that doesn't actually do you any good, right? So when we start to look at those pieces, what are you wanting, right? And sometimes it's really, you want a testimonial. For those of you who have more touchy-feely kinds of things that you do, it's to really look at testimonials that will show and share emotions. So in this one, right, I needed a place to be supported and taken seriously as a young businesswoman. I loved the national guest list at NW2, right? Gives you a piece of information. It's not long, right? But it gives you a piece of information as to how can I self-identify, right? We have people in every single age group in this group that pop in, pop out, are here all the time, right? So letting people know that, how can you be taken seriously as a young businesswoman, right? So that's someone else sharing their emotions. You know, I started my store online because, right, that no one judged my age based on my reviews. And that's one of the things when you look at Etsy that has been the largest amount of growth for Etsy in particular, have been business owners under the age of 24. So that they are really coming on with products that are new and innovative. And because they are still young, they're hitting a demographic whose parents are still buying for them. So it's been a great kind of sales piece for them. When you're talking about testimonials, again, you know, we want the ones that will lead you back to money. If you don't remember the cash cow, for those of you who have taken class, right, we use the example of the florist, and the florist had all of these flowers that she didn't sell, or she had these little bitty roses that would fall off really easy because they were just difficult to transport. So she would just harvest them all, and you know, she would keep them in a bowl or whatever, but then she would make these topiaries. And so she would take this specific type of dead flower, and she would glue them on a circle and a stick and put them in a little pot, and she'd set them up by the end, and she sold them for $30. And you know, her cost was like $1.50 or something stupid. So you know, how do you take something that isn't a lot of effort? A cash cow is something that you already have, right? You don't have to invent something new necessarily. What is very interesting for her is that I will challenge you guys all the time to come up with what's your next cash cow, because then you have your old one and then you can have a new one, right? So she got tired of gluing stuff. And so now she is really focusing in on how to dye. How do you dye cloth with flowers, right? That you can buy certain flowers from her to try dyeing. So that was the other interesting piece for her, was how do we get people to come in the door and understand that you need a florist, because we're actually scientists. We actually have a really lot of information. And how do we get that information to a DIY crowd who will absolutely invest enormous amount into flowers if it's for an art project, but they won't invest $120 in flowers if they were just going to bring them home and put them on their table for themselves. But will they pay them to kill them and dye something? Absolutely. Right? You know these people, right? You may be that person. So, right, define your cash cow. How can we bring something else to the market? Those testimonials should be part of that part of why do you want that? Because it brings you money. This is Donna, this is the garden place I was telling you about, of what are just the other plants you can add to your garden. For those of you who are garden people, Janet Mills, this may attend to you too, and Sandy, this may do too. Just the ability to have a conversation around something that seems interesting, right? And I just use black flowers. And this was a random pick, by the way. This isn't somebody I know. But anyway, so you're going to have to kind of start to align your testimonials and your SEO, right? How do we talk about you? How do we align all of the pieces together, right? And SEO means search engine optimization, right? So when we look at the words that are always attached to your name, right? So if you are selling sparkly, you want to have sparkly in everything. So the testimonials that you want, you also want them to have those keywords in them. So you're looking for, if you're looking to go, okay, we need to build this whole spread, this whole business model so that we can understand Black flowers. So that when somebody says to Alexa, Alexa, where do I buy Black flowers? What is she going to do? She's going to Google search all of those pieces. So it has to be, right, the keywords in your business, the keywords in articles that you're writing, the keywords that are on your website. It's a keyword that's on your Pinterest board. It's in your Facebook definition, right? Because the more little places that one keyword is, the more likely it's going to instantaneously pull you up. Because remember, you are just under 7 years away from never having people really be the person who picks what you have, right? AI will do all of that. So you have to go back and really consider the way that artificial intelligence searches for something and the power and magnitude that it has to do that. So that also means that hashtags are going to become really important. So I didn't just pick on Kathy, I pulled one of my own, right? So this is an example of how I use these in businesses often, right? There's a program called Canva, and I'll take the reviews that people have given and I'll put them into something that I can now load, right? So now it'll be an image that can go up on Facebook, it can go on your Instagram, it can go wherever you like. So this would be an example, right, of what kind of review. What does this review tell you about this person?
It's an emotional review.
It's an emotional review, right? And what can you, so not knowing that you didn't know me, right? Because I thought, and I picked me because one, it's okay to bitch slap me a little bit. But when you start to look at that, what did you take away from that person's testimony?
Mm-hmm.
That they wish they would have met with you sooner because you were able to meet needs that they didn't even know they had.
Right.
To me, there's a huge scope here.
Yep.
So there could be,
Say
I
that
feel
you
like,
brought, oops, sorry.
I don't know exactly what you do from it.
Right.
Like it's so much emotion and so many in such a huge gamut that I'm not totally clear what exactly you do.
Right. So, right, it's a gushing piece of emotion, but it doesn't actually describe. You have no idea out of this what I did for them.
It does remind me that the last part of the review really sticks, the landing.
Yes.
Mm.
Right. There's your A, Janet, very good. That we will remember the last line of a review very quickly. Okay. And when you saw this many words, was that too long for you?
It
Yeah.
took a while. I mean, yeah.
You had to really be wanting to do that. So when you look at that amount, about half this amount of words would have been easy to jump into, right? So if you are putting them together, somebody has to actually want to try to test the truth by reading reviews that are longer, right? So if you're really thinking about buying something, let's use that you are online, right? and you were going to buy something online that you didn't know if it was good enough, how many of you have read more than 10 reviews? Right? That if it has 200 reviews, you're going to read a whole bunch of them. And the ones that are long, in that case, are really helpful.
Mhm.
Right? So not having long ones is a detriment, but they have a place, right? They have a place in what they do. So the person who's going to read a longer review is one who has come a little further into the buying option, and they're looking for some information. So kind of moving forward, if you are a review reader, I would think about what it is that you find as a deliverable, right? What is it that you want to know? Do you want to know the price? Do you want to know the quality? Do you want to know the time efficiency? So when you start to look at what is there, right, you're going to also be asking people to write reviews for you, and you have to give them a guide. And that's one of the reasons why I like having reviews that other people can look at to go, hey, here's the list of reviews that are here. Here's what they look like. Right. So, and also if you're giving one to another friend, especially in this group, I would think about the fact that it's a lot like standing in a checkout line, that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I love this thing because, right? It's that quick, right off the top of your head. And that's usually the most energetically efficient review to leave. Right. So we'll go back to Janet Mill's example, right? I couldn't believe, I wrote it down, right? I couldn't believe how it changed the family dynamic. Right? Positively. And that part, right, kind of gives you what you need. It's that checkout line, it's everyday conversational, and it's starting to just give testimony. One of the things that is also a key item for people who are huge networkers is they actually are giving testimony all the time. So when if you're somebody who's networking and you look at somebody and you go, wow, they're a great networker, they are also, that's all they're doing is giving a testimonial. Right? Hey, I'm part of this group. It's doing this for me. Done. Right? We can't not be happy for you. So if you are someone who is trying to network, you have to think about what is the testimony you're going to give. Kathy, I'll use you as an example, because she and I will go to networking events often with, what is his name? He used to come to class all the time.
Andrew.
So, but we would go to Andrew's things, right? And so she and I would tag team. And that's the way to do that, is to really understand what is the testimonial you'll give. Does that bug you when I do that, Kathy?
No, I absolutely love it. And I think it's really fun to talk about you and to get people excited about you and to have that opportunity for you to see what I say about you behind your back.
Right.
Because make no mistake, I'm talking about you at times that you don't have any idea. So it's nice for you to see, like, these are the things that I say about you when you're not around. And then it's also really nice to hear what I do from somebody else, because in my head I know what I do, and I talk about it all the time, but to hear somebody else say it is really helpful, because I think I learn things about my business that I didn't even know were there, or that were of value.
Or were of value. And one of the things that I really like about, right, being the testimonial live in that moment is, and I've used that example for you a lot because I really love it, which is, having a conversation around buying a faucet. It's not an easy thing, right? There are all these things that you are going to screw up on a faucet. No one at Home Depot is going to help you buy a faucet, right? And there is no friend who's like, I'm the best faucet buyer, right? That they're not. So to be able to say, hey, I have somebody in my bevy that you can just call, you can just pay her money. and she will help you find a faucet that's not going to be gross.
Or the price of a night out at dinner, or dinner night out, or however you say that, I
Yeah.
can get you the best faucet ever.
Yeah.
And as a testimonial, I tried it. I went to the giant warehouse wholesale, and it was a disaster what I bought.
See, right. It was a
Yeah,
disaster.
the wrong product was in the box and I didn't know it. And the plumber put it in. I paid all that money. And so there we go.
There you go, right? And so we all have a story that we can connect to, right? So when you're thinking about that checkout line, or you're sitting at a bench talking to people, right? We love to talk about stupid shit like a faucet, and go, hey, here's how you can solve this for the rest of your life, right? So think about testimonial in that way, okay? For those of you who have not invested in photography, you need to photograph your product. And if your product has an outcome, what that looks like, that's actually where Kathy gets her A this week, right? And actually that's also where Danny gets her A, of really looking at the product. How is it using? What does it look like? Danny was working on packaging all week. But again, right, how does it do that? Because a picture can give you an illusion. How many of you know exactly how this dog feels? Right?
Everybody.
Yes. The only thing that I'm sad about is that there just isn't enough popsicle in here. That I'm like, y'all ate that popsicle. Right? I'm a little distressed, but I can get the pure joy, right? The pure joy of being able to go, let me slurp this up. You will want to take your own images, and you will want to invest in your own images. And you'll have to come up with what is that price, because it's just another piece. This is another piece where you can kind of start to look at, if you have a product that is a physical made item, invite people to show it off. So Janet, when I look at the magazine, right, where are they reading it? Glamour magazine started in the 70s. Take a picture of where you are while you're reading our magazine. And let people tag. We are Instagram heaven. So tagging is a big deal, because it will come up to say, right, because remember, more and more of the world is going to be led by an algorithm, not by people. So when you're having information disseminate across the vast wasteland of the internet, you have to be able to program it in a way that it can understand it. So that's why you tag, to go, oh, hey, this is part of me. So it is also how large brands can find small brands. So, again, when I look at people who are brand affiliated, right, or ambassadors of a brand, they're going to absolutely take a picture of themselves working out in, Lulu. So, and then Lulu's going to go, oh, hey, they tagged us. Now we have an opportunity to be able to co-create with that content. So again, looking at what that is, if Jamie were here, this would be really the one I would have pushed her on.
Yeah, I don't know where she is.
Yeah, I don't know. She'll pop in. She's so crazy. You never know what that girl's getting into right now.
It's not the same without her today.
I know, we miss her a little bit. We'll have to tell her. Can I get a hashtag, please? This is another homework assignment for you, is I would invent your hashtag. So, how many people here are using hashtags? Just kind of simple, raise your hand. Okay, Mary, I'm gonna go to you first. What's the hashtag you use a lot?
Sage Wellbeing, or Grow Your Tribe.
Yep. So these are keywords that we can find other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christine, are you using hashtags at all?
Yes, I am.
And what's your hashtag that you're using a lot of?
Well, I have a variety that I have saved that I tag on different Instagram posts.
Yep.
But the one that I keep in there, and I shouldn't say I always keep it in there, but is Awaken You, because that's what I have been calling my program.
Perfect. Perfect. So then that kind of pulls it in. So going back to the last one, right? Inviting people to show off. That's one of the ways that they can show off, right? Is that you can give them the hashtag that they can attach to, and then they can show that off on their own, right? So when you think about the words or how it goes together, it's not going to register until there's 100, and then it'll automatically pull up once there's 500. But once you get over 1,000 hashtag uses, the algorithm itself says, oh, this is getting to be a thing. And then you kind of start building from there. So the algorithm will notice it attached to you at around 500, but it will start showing up in other feeds at about 1,000 posts. So that lets you know how many times you really need to use it, or invite other people to use it. So in this case, Christine, we would have said, hey, have all your clients hashtag this as something that they're doing, right? It's a way to go, I want you to post something to your friends about how you're learning, right? Or share content, so forth. And Danny, social media very well, you use it a lot. So, you already have a name that is going to only be you, right? So, and you may shorten it to be Dirt Don't Hurt, right? And really just start hammering that into the hashosphere. Donna, do you have one for you?
Oh, I was just looking at my Instagram. So yeah, so I have a couple things to say about hashtags is, I have soccer birds. I'm pretty much the only one posting with soccer birds. Sometimes you find people taking a picture of a bird on a soccer field. And I haven't posted in Instagram in a long time, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. But the one thing I want to say is, of course, soccer is a big hashtag, but it's too big.
That's too big, correct.
There is such a thing as a hashtag that's just, imagine how many people are using the hashtag soccer. You go to the hashtag soccer and it's just like, it must be like 1,000 per second. It's impossible. So there is such a thing as too many. But soccer moms, soccer time, soccer for kids, soccer kids, coloring, kids coloring pages, coloring for kids, soccer girls. So this is one of my big wins. It's like I say, not recent, but the Girls Soccer Network found me. And so, because we were using similar hashtags, and that allowed them to use me, was last year in their Christmas gift guide.
Christmas gift bag, yeah.
That was wonderful. And okay, so I know what my takeaway is from today, Mickey, and that is, I'll save it for the end. But I'm going to forget it.
So do that to all of us.
No, I don't want to forget it. So
get it good now.
You don't have to keep your review captive in Yelp. That is my takeaway, because I've never thought of extracting. I don't know why I never thought of that. But anyway, that's why we come to NW2. Woohoo! So it is to say that, here I have this review. I was included in this gift guide, and they wrote this huge, this little blurb about my book, and I've just held it captive on their, anyway. So now Girls Soccer Network is a hashtag, but Girls Soccer, GSN is also a hashtag, and boom, they have 8,000 followers, and it is to say that there's these little niches that are, GSN is a more valuable hashtag to me than soccer.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. I think that's great information for everybody. Is to understand, when are they too big, When do you really need to kind of hone in? And who are looking at that, right? So
yeah, you could just go to the hashtag and see, okay, I just posted something and I hashtagged it with this. Can I find it? Can I go to that hashtag and see my post?
right.
If it's there, it's effective, right? But if you're like, what, scrolling and I'm like, wait, I just posted this. Why isn't it there? It's just flying by too fast.
It's so crazy, right? And so we see this a lot in sporting events. So like people, if any of you are runners, right, that they'll put up, because everybody's going to be posting in a really short amount of time all of their race results. So they want to see all of those race results, and you want to see everybody else's pictures, right? So it's also a way to build community around an event. So Donna, you're a coloring event, right? So if you're going to have a coloring event, it's also a really fast way for everybody that's doing that one day to be able to find each other's pictures, even if you don't post them.
Right.
So I could see you really enjoying that a lot. And Christine, I could see you using that as well, right? Of, going, hey, here's the event that we're using. Let's hashtag in all of those things. You can give people a way to search, and now you can have truly an archive of experience that people can have year after year after year after year. Oh, Jamie's here. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
Jamie's in the house.
Right. Are you in Puerto Rico or are you here?
I am here, and I'm sorry I'm late. I was trying not to throw a birthday cake at the cake lady.
Okay, well, good.
I couldn't join at that time. I was in tears. I have a 30th birthday surprise proposal thingy for a client, and the birthday cake is nothing like I asked for it to be. And yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Hashtag fail.
Hashtag fail, right?
Hashtag fail. Hashtag today I'm going to be a cake baker.
Good. All right. Well, welcome aboard. Don't forget, when you are safe to drive, put in your info on the side so that our new peeps can get to you. Okay, so let's go back to the testimonial piece. Jamie, and the piece that I was pointing out to you, I'm going to go back to right before hashtag, is really inviting people to show off their pictures. And then for you, it's coming in with that hashtag that's specific to your events. And that way, everybody else that's taking pictures, you can utilize their photographs as part of your asset base. So, and you and I can talk about that offline to catch you up. I don't want to confuse you while you're driving. Okay, so going back and asking people. So sometimes it's posing the question around how to ask for that. So it's really learning how to freeform to go, hey, how do you feel, right? This is a question that I put on a flyer. Hey, how do you feel when you get service from us? Does it matter that we have 22 years of awards and experience? Right? Now I'm going to pose the question to them that leads to the answer that I want. Right? So this is a huge negotiating tool for those of you who are in business. Again, never ask a question, never formulate a question that doesn't lead to the answer that you want. Right? So we had this in a legal firm where we have this argument of splitting children, 3 days one where, 3 days another place. And the question that we reposed to them was, so you feel your 3-year-old is confident enough to live out of a suitcase for the rest of their life? Right? Lands it in a different place, right? Because people don't see that. No, we got to share it. Well, but you're actually making sure that that child now lives out of a suitcase for all of their life. They don't think about it that way, right? So you're going to look to pose the question negatively or positively so that it lands exactly where you want it to land. So, when you look at that hey, was there a specific win that you had that would help someone else? Or defining an objection. So I used this one. The reason I never paid for a pedicure was because I felt embarrassed about my goat hooves. But this place specialized in older patients with really hard foot problems, right? Now we have some humor, right? We have something we can all kind of, a lot of people are hiding their feet in their socks, right? That how can you look at that objections to overcome, right? So Kathy, that would come for you. Sandy Cleland, this would be a lot for you, right? What are the objections that people have that your testimonial can say, here's how I overcame that. The other one are the attributes that are above the fray, right? So that means that if there's something that you do that's kind of spectacular, Sandy, this would probably actually be the most for you, is, right, what is there something that you do that's so much better than anybody in your field, right? Not only did I get to somebody to help me sell my house or find a house, but now I get, right, the list, or now I get this long-term person, right? So start to look at what is it that, whoops, I'm going to keep that in there. What is it that is above the fray? And you will want to decide what you want to highlight for that. And I think the secret list for you may be one of those things, right? Christine, I think one of the things that you could use that's above the fray is really the long-term outcomes. That what do you have, right? What are those long-term outcomes? It's not just that I got help today, it's that I got help all of the time. And then Mary Sage, when we think about your work, right, as you know, right, moving energy for people is incredibly, or giving them the power to move their own, right? I mean, that's a life skill. So not to say, hey, was this service good, but here's why it's above, right? That it gave me a tool that I could use for myself all of the time, that I could tap into, right? So kind of looking at those attributes, and it's different than gushing, right? It's different than going, oh my God, I felt so good, right? It is to say, look, I can connect better, deeper, faster.
I just came up with the question, what have you overcome that you haven't done in other, I put therapies, but that's not necessarily the right word, but just
modalities, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What have you overcome? I love that. I love that. And so those attributes that are above the fray, Karen, when we looked at your notebook, right, the attribute is that you can finish it, right? that every person in here went, oh God, anything I can finish, please, right? Anything. So that's that piece, right? Here's what we can do. The roar of your peeps, right? So one of the things that you will want to kind of do is to kind of get who's your little mob of reviewers. And those reviewers may be that they're going to review for you once a year, but on a different site, right? So this person that reviewed for you on LinkedIn may review for you on LinkedIn this year, Facebook next year. They may do it in different ways. So I would think about who is your little mob, right? And these are people that you can kind of ask for often. When there's a new business program out there called Bark, B-A-R-K, like a dog. And it's just for business consultants. And so I had a list of people that had given me reviews in the past to go, hey, I'm on a new platform. Can you just cut and paste your old review and put it on this one so it's there? Or can you write another one? And I gave them the review that they gave me already to be like, hey, I can't load this up on your behalf. Would you do that? And a lot of times they just will, you know, if I give them something that's quick and easy, right? How can I get there? And then, Kathy, this is where you're really winning, right? Is that your reviews are coming in really steadily. So did you plan that, Kathy, or did it just happen that way? Oh, I didn't see you right there. Sorry. Well, she's got to unmute. There you go. So your reviews are coming in really almost every month. Did you plan that, or is it just happening that way?
Lucky.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever that's working, that's the right answer. So, you
I
know,
think I've been talking about reviews a lot to my clients.
yeah.
And kind of probing, saying, you know, hey, no, I would rather you give me a great review than, you know, because people talk a lot about the amount of hours they bill, and I'm very generous. And I just flat out say I would rather have a great review than another $75.
Right. Right. And then have you figured out how to send them the ask for the review?
I thought I did, but because I haven't now finished any projects lately, I haven't done it.
Okay. So again, sometimes your reviews are going to come from your coworkers. This would be a great review for you to put on for the other parts of your network, right? So now we would have contractors that you would work with, right? Now we would have some of these other things. So co-creators is where I would expand that review list with, right? So it's not just people who have actually seen your service, but people who are around you, who are working with what you have as an outcome. Some of you that might be a therapist, right? That also sees some of your work, or the list is lengthy. Again, you can look at how you want to showcase those, and really photographs do that, right? It's just so dang cute. So think about what they are written, and then you kind of push them into Canva. If anyone can use Canva, but it's also really a great tool that you can send out to Fiverr. This is a very inexpensive way to say, here's the review, find a picture to go with it, send it back to me as an Instagram post. That's a $10 request.
Damien has her hand up.
Oh, give it to me.
Okay, so I am not good at getting any reviews, honestly. Like, I'm just not anywhere near, and I should be. I mean, I'll put up, like, if somebody that I'm doing something special for here and there, people will send me a text message back. I've always been in the thought process that I just always, like, my best review is when they throw me an extra $500 for tip me, or, you know, that's how I always have felt in the distance. But I have been more and more feeling, especially like with my event centers and stuff like that, that it's really important to give people. I just feel really weird about saying, hey, will you review me? Or like knowing where to send them to do it, or what to do. I just don't do it, like, at all.
And we're going to put that in exactly the same way as your contract. So it is exactly the same systematic, just do it, as you did with your contract, to say, this is not negotiable, right? Just right. So when you're starting to look at that, when you're looking at partnerships, you're going to put it into your contract to say, hey, here's what is my expectation of you, or here is what we would like. And it would actually just be part of your follow-up package on an event, is to say, hey, what are the things that we should share about your experience? And then they can just send it to you. You can figure out how you want to post them from there. But exactly how your contracts got so much better was because you just focused on a system. And you just went, okay, let me just hit this one target. This is how we're going to do it. And then I'm going to do it consistently, and it just will do it. So when
I send back, like, the kickback, so like a wedding or whatever gets done. And then I always send back a kickback saying, hey, I would love to have a conversation about what's good, what's not. I could basically create a system where it kicks back a survey or testimonial or short thing for them to fill out that kicks back that's different than the conversation, because I have a conversation, a debrief after everything that I do, but I can more do it in a warm form of, here's a short little thing for you to fill out, please hit this in, so then I get it. So it's, or I just feel so weird asking for a review.
Yeah, that's just a piece that you're gonna have to decide on those event centers, and I'll let everybody else kind of speak in on that as well. It's that barrier isn't helpful in this era of AI.
Right.
I mean, it's just you are still attributing it that it's going back to you as you having worth or value or being seen or whatever that is, and it's not actually about that. It's about giving other people from the outside an opportunity to figure out if they should pick this, right? And that's really where on events like yours, the event centers, you really want them to be led specifically to information that leads to, this is why you hire an event planner.
Right. Okay.
And then what I like about a survey, I do surveys a lot. What I like about a survey, and SurveyMonkey is great for this, is to go, look, here's the 50 event centers we work for, send them, 5 questions that are very specific, and then take that data in and go, okay, what is that about? So we did them on buddy calls here. And so we sent it out to everybody that we do a buddy call on. And this was a few years ago, and found out that, we just asked them some simple questions. There were 3 questions, and it just said, hey, what out of this, why do you use these calls? Do you use it for business? Do you use it for prosperity growth? Do you use it for, whatever? And that data came back. Now we had a statistic, right? Now we had a statistic that we could share. 9 out of 10 people that are using our services are looking for prosperity enhancement, right? They're looking to think differently. Or, so start thinking about what it is that your event centers, that you want. And you can use that as testimony that you can gather as data. You can use that as testimony that just isn't just gushing. In an event planner, you're looking for ROI, right? What is the return on investment? So working with a planner gives you what return on investment. And then there's the gush kind, right? And that's what your people are sending you on their phone, like, oh my gosh, we had so much fun, yay.
Yeah, I get those, and I don't even think to do anything with them. I just say, thank you so much, and I'm glad I'm very confident of my niche of what I do. I know why people hire me, and so that's easy. But I do more and more have people that are like, well, do you do reviews up, or do you have? And I'm like, well, I can give you this number, or have somebody text you. And I just figured there would be a different system, and sure, I can create that in my CRM system on my site, like it kicks everything else back.
And this is a great admin piece for you specifically. I would have just sent that text to the admin and said, hey, can you do this? Hey, here's, start looking at it as the
I'm going to text them as soon as I stop.
The piece that I want all of you to take away in your mind from Nikki today is that you are building an asset. These are digital assets. These are worth, as to quote Kathy, it's worth more than the $75 you would have paid me to do this, right?
Do you want to come in here?
It's just worth more. So one of the other pieces about lengthy is those short ones have a place, the long ones have a place. What is interesting is when I started this, we talked about the 80,000 picture images that people had viewed. that the value for everyone that I leave a review for, which is only the people that I dearly love, that there was a reason I left that review, and I thought about my review. But on Google, because it's a mapping site, it's got a physical location. So one, if you have a physical location, you're going to need to do that. If you don't want to have that physical location be your home, then you better figure out where it's going to be. But that's how Google works. It's got a physical location. Then when we start to add in a photograph of somebody either in your product, using your product, doing something around it, any photograph, the algorithm changes by 1,500%. It's not double. It is 1,500% more. For those of you who have products that people want to gorge on, Danny, this would be you. This would also be you, Sandy Cleland, right? They want to see the houses that sold in their neighborhood, right? They want to see what they look like. Oh, she sold this one and 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 this one, right? Okay, great. Give them those images to gorge on, and you'll give them to them in a virtual place. How many of you have thought about buying a piece of clothing and then looked in the reviews and then scanned down to see the people who actually were wearing that outfit in their real life, right? So you're like, oh, okay, well, now I'll buy it. So having an image is really a critical item, which is why I won't rely on someone else to do it. That's why you have to be that person, taking pictures of your own product, figuring out how to add it in there. So one of the other pieces that's a fun part is looking for the ways to have people kind of share your secret sauce. So this one has been used an enormous amount. Starbucks has a secret menu, McDonald's has a secret menu, and it's just a fun thing to talk about. So when you are starting to look at what's that secret menu that nobody really knows, right? You didn't know that you could go to McDonald's and get a chicken sandwich stuffed in to a double cheeseburger, right? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was on the menu. It's not on the menu because they can't sell a million of it, but it's on the secret menu. So for those of you who have a secret menu, it is to say, here are the other services that we already provide, and here's a way that we can kind of push them together a little differently so that you can have this special thing. So for Mary Sage, this would be a good one for you to go, how do I take something and push it in a little bit differently, right? How do I get it into a package? How do I get it into something else? These are just the other ones that we have from Matchbar, of getting them to all look alike. So that's my other homework for you, is to just go, let's think about what they would look like, so that when you're putting them into, when you're taking that asset and inserting it into a long feed, you want them all to look alike. So I would pick, 10 or 12, where they're at, and start really making that an actual usable asset. What I also like about this, the way, is that they're timeless, that you can use them anytime. You can use them in 5 years from now, that it's not like, oh, that was from 2017, now it's outdated. It is also to take that review and now give it what we call an evergreen content, right? Evergreen, that it's always able to have money. So you're pulling out something that's date and time stamped, and now taking it out, reutilizing that, fanning it into another area, and now making it evergreen content. Does anybody here use Canva? Have you guys gone to Canva? Okay, so Karen, Mary, who else am I seeing? Oops.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what do you love about Canva?
I don't use Canva very much. I mostly use Photoshop.
Okay.
But Canva has a lot of templates that are kind of fun.
Right, right. Who else that uses Canva here?
I use Canva
And what do you use it for?
when I can't get like menus or invitations done by my graphic designer right away. It's an easy way for me to go in and do it. And also for clients who I don't really have the time to do certain work like with their invitations. They have a feature where you can send like a digital invitation and the person can actually reply on the invitation. Same as kind of like Evite, but you can create, it looks, better. I think it looks a lot better. You can put music to it. So like people who want to go very inexpensive, it's an inexpensive way for me to have that service for them, especially when I can't get to my graphic designer.
And just to kind of help everybody else out, on a level of 1 to 5 in difficulty of just opening it up and starting to work, how difficult is it? 1 being easy, 5 being hard.
-10.
-10. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing that has to do with graphics is really easy.
Right. But
and you have to have an idea of what you want before you start, because otherwise you'll get the wrong thing. You have to redo it. And Christine had her hand up too.
Yeah, Christine, what's up? Thank you.
She has to unmute herself.
You gotta unmute. We'd love to hear you.
I was just saying that I have used Canva. I'm a previous and a different lifetime graphic designer. So it frustrates me a bit because I'm used to InDesign and Photoshop, but I'm working on getting to like it. And I actually use Over a little bit more. Over is a similar program. Run by GoDaddy, I believe.
Yeah, type it into the side so we know what that is. Absolutely. If you have other resources, absolutely use them. I use Canva as a recommendation just because it's easy to get to for most people who don't have these advanced skills. Christine and Karen, you both have, advanced programs that most people have not invested in. So think about that as, again, you're building an asset. It's very different when you start to look at what can you give someone as your business model to sell to them. If you're going to sell somebody a program or something that you've done and it already has all of this testimony attached to it, it's worth more. It's worth more. If you already have a product that you've delivered and this many people have been helped by it, that product is now worth more. So think about testimonials as an asset builder. They're there to build your asset. Sandy, if you have 100 people that say that you did something specific for them, then the 101st person that sees that there's 100 other people in line that said, yeah, you got to do that, right? The speed at which that person will choose you is faster, right? So that's why you're showcasing them. You're also showcasing because you're going to change the amount of time that it takes for somebody to pick, right? So you don't have to go, now you can work at the speed of trust. And that's what testimonials do, is they give the idea of trust. If you want to know how eBay changed the entire world, that is it. Because that is where the question came. We did not have this before we had eBay. So if you want to tell Sergey, well, thank you for one thing in your lifetime that has changed the entire world economy, it is that. For those of you who are not attached to a map, it's a really big deal. They started out taking on TripAdvisor as the concept, and they started saying, hey, mapping can be this other thing. They also wanted to take and make mapping profitable. And that's where this is coming from. So they built a reviewer nation. They started it out specifically to take on TripAdvisor, to focus in on these places that people were searching all the time. And then they built it on to be this much greater piece, which is now there's a community around it. Anytime you build a community around anything, the chances of that thing staying in power or availability changes. So when you, Mary Sage, I would use that for you of some of these classes that you're doing online, that now if somebody took that class 5 years ago, they can come back and take that class, but the testimonial they gave 5 years ago is still live. It's still an asset, even though you're not getting more income off of them until they come back. And now you can build off of that previous asset, right? But again, now you have this ability to mobilize previous students, right? So they are an asset. Anyone that takes your service and has an experience that's positive for all of you, that is an asset that you are leaving on the table if you don't build a digital system to utilize that asset. Okay, so let me just go back, right? Every person that you have ever served is an asset. They are worth money to you today, even though you served them yesterday. And they're worth money to you because there is still more that they can bring to new income. They have an experience that they had, they may have some growth, but they also, right, have the availability to buy again. And they will buy again based on what other people say. Or I may have updated the program. Hey, we have 2 new units. Hey, there's another thing that we can do, right? So think about, again, those mapping sites. Yelp was based on the model built for the yellow pages. So Janet, going back to your cousin, far and away, I would have figured out how to get her a mapping pin way more than a Yelp review. And that's my point to her, is because she's got a digital product that can be taken anywhere across the world. Okay, so I have 2 more slides left.
Jamie has her hand up.
Jamie, and what do you got?
How do I get reviews from, like, I sign very intense non-disclosure, non-certain photograph forms with some of my clients. So like I was in Puerto Rico with Yara Shadi, and who's the daughter of Blackish, cooking for her and her family. And like, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should be taking pictures, but then I have to go back. How do I get those reviews out of them and in that type of way, like especially for like my celebrity clients that I cook for?
Right. So I would think about what it is that you're eligible to take a picture of. You can just use them as a celebrity client. That can be their name title. And we can kind of work through each one. I mean, I think that's for you and I, that's a 3-hour conversation.
And you need permission.
Yeah, so what permissions are there? They already know that they don't want this on the web because it's their personal life. But you may be able to say, hey, I am going to take pictures of this food. I am going to take pictures of the table. I am going to take pictures without having people there. And then figure out what is eligible to be said, right? But again, it's all ideas have to lead to that center, right? Going back to that business model, right? That you're leading everything to what is the driver of money. So if taking a picture of a tablescape is driving you to, right, what kind of money? Taking a picture of a bathroom, what are you driving them to, right? So Kathy, you just
Kathy left us to make money.
Oh, Kathy left us to make money. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so Kathy just went and we just had a long conversation with her about why she had to take images and what kind of images she could take. Some of them you can take with your phone. Some of them you really do need professionally done. Sandy, for you already have pictures in every sale you have because they have to take pictures to do it. Do you have the rights to use those? Right? So I would start really looking at putting that into into a contract that said, hey, I would like to use these again, so forth. Okay, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to pull us all back together again on what are you getting it. And then I'm going to start reading these.
I just had one question about the mapping pin. When,
Yep.
when you talked about, Janet's niece, she's not in a single place. And you said, oh, this is a global thing. So how would a mapping pin be helpful to something
She
that's
has
global?
to have an address. I mean, that's the other piece that has happened in this world, right? Is that a lot of people are working out of their home.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want that corporate event. You don't want that corporate identity at your physical home. That's why you pay to have a post office box somewhere else, or you have, co-working spaces. This is where co-working spaces have become worth every penny, is because they can now be a place where you receive mail, but far more worth the money is it's a place you can receive mail, but it is a building that will be attached to your brand identity that can now be dropped in on a pin.
Okay.
So the days of just working from home and being able to be on this larger forum have ended. So you don't get to do that in the world of AI anymore. You must have a location.
More about that?
Pardon me?
Can you say more about that?
Meaning that if your corporate office, if you don't have a physical location and you are completely virtual,
Mm-hmm.
you will lose
Mm-hmm.
80% of the availability to be found globally by not having a mapping pin.
Okay.
80.
So get a P.O. box.
Get a place where Google can find you that is not your home.
Yeah.
You can put in your home address, but then everyone that searches you is going to see where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Problem.
Yeah.
So some people choose a P.O. box, but then if you go to that, they're going to think you're at the UPS store. Do you really want them to see that? These co-working spaces are going to be in a building. It's going to have lots of other things attached to it. I have a lot of nonprofits that have their mailing address at Lutheran Social Services, because that's who's going to adopt them in that way. So they have an address. It looks like a giant building when they see that nonprofit, when they're Google searching it, but they have a place to drop on a pin. Google will take that, they will take that category and monopolize it to a degree you didn't think was possible. Exactly like websites. Exactly what they did for websites, exactly what they did for SEO, they're going to do that with the location of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So you will no longer get to be that. And it's TikTok. I mean, it's TikTok. You've got 5 years max.
Can I ask another question?
That's what you're here for.
I teach sometimes at a studio that's 500 feet from my house,
Perfect.
but not all of the time. Would there be a benefit of
Absolutely.
asking to use that as my pinpoint?
Yep.
Because
would be a
they're also
benefit.
getting all of their own. Yeah.
And it may just be, right, so it wouldn't matter because office buildings have hundreds of offices in them.
Well, this one's a single address,
Sure.
like wellness studio location.
Yep. And so that you would be housed inside that wellness studio. And that co-creation for you is actually, if everybody can weigh in on that, that co-creation right there, I think is worth more to your brand than not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you both share the same name, you're housed inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And now they'll also have more people coming to them.
Yeah, it might be really worth her even thinking about having all of her teachers and therapists do.
Yep. And then
this thing.
their mail will come there. So Google will send a physical piece of mail that you must respond to.
Mhm.
So they will send you something in the mail addressed to your business there, and it's going to have a code on it. You
Mhm.
actually have to go back in with that code to Google Map
Mhm.
and prove that you received mail at that address.
Okay. I'm going to talk to her about it. She
Yeah,
might love it.
it's a powerful tool.
It makes me think of the the artists, the Art of Whirl in Northeast Minneapolis, those huge studios. Like one of my favorite artists, I pick somebody out and I find them. That's my gig and that's what I like to do during Art of Whirl. And so I searched her out, and she was on the 4th floor of this gigantic building and shared a studio with 10 artists.
Yes.
So one room, and she had this like 5x5 section on the wall. She was not there, but that was her location.
Right.
So maybe that I call my business a creative content studio, and I have a studio here in my house.
Mhm.
But like you said, it's my personal address. And so maybe for me in the next whatever amount of time, I should try to find a studio that I could just go in on, maybe.
Yep.
Doesn't have to.
Interesting. Yeah, we will all end up being there. I mean, that again, the algorithms versus the physicality, right? What the world has brought us is the ability to work at home and to not have to take on a site. But you don't get to take on a site. You don't get to take on the anonymity for your business if you want to be in that global structure, right? So everyone will have to move that direction. And that's also why I think co-working spaces are going to become even more. I thought they were great before, wrote a lot of business plans for that. They're going to become even more.
Mhm.
Because as soon as everybody figures out the map deal, it's only a matter of 5 years.
Wow. Think of all those pins.
Right.
I just wanted to
think about how many people just, they just do all their business at home.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to have an office.
Right.
So that's fine.
I wanted to show you what I got here.
And
I bought a milk frother because I miss lattes. That's the thing I miss about coffee shops is lattes. So we didn't want to buy, a machine that did that. So I bought a milk frother not knowing what to expect, but it's great. So I get this, and on the back, they tell you what you have to do to get that $20. I thought that was illegal, but I guess it's not.
No, that's great.
Yeah, so all you have to do is go out and do the same thing I did for Match Bars, which was click by the product and write an experience,
right,
and send it back to them, and they'll give you a gift certificate for $20. And if you want a milk frother, it's a great one.
Oh, definitely put it in. Definitely put it in. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go round robin. Mary Sage, I'm going to start with you. What are you taking away today? What's your big takeaway?
Just the last topic, the co-working space idea, that just feels like it's exploding in my head because I've been struggling with this like separation from the studio and doing my own website, but also lacking the support of their hub.
Yeah.
So I think that could just be a brilliant win-win. She's struggling too, so how to make more integration and success for everyone.
Yeah, and I think the thing there that I would take is, again, the co-creation.
Yeah.
And that feels really natural with your vibe.
Yeah, totally.
I would take your notes with you to that conversation.
Yeah.
And because you guys are cross-pollinating, That's another way that you guys can really go, okay, how many people do we have in common? Can we set this out to these top 10 people?
Mm-hmm.
And can we pick somebody for each month? Can we see that scroll constantly becoming evergreen?
Mm-hmm.
And images. She's going to have images that you can attach to your location.
Yeah.
So, okay, Danielle, what are you taking away today?
The hashtags, I've never been very good at it. I'm really good at social media, really bad at hashtags.
Right.
And one thing I actually learned before coming here is you can have too many hashtags.
Yes.
So when you write a review or you write a post about something and you have like 14 different hashtags on it, it actually doesn't help anybody.
Right.
And so that's kind of the big thing. And then I just have to show you, this is my soap.
Oh yeah. Pull it out so people can see it.
So this is how it comes in a pretty little jar. And then a cheesecloth bag because compost. And I don't like waste. And then it is a rose.
Oh,
These are so cute.
And this one is a goat's milk glycerin with food coloring for dye. And then it smells like ginger and spearmint.
Good. I wish we could smell it. That's good. And so there you are, creating. I love it. Anything else you're taking away?
Just really working on getting that mapping point.
Yeah.
For a little dirt don't hurt, because that's really going to be, because I don't have brick and mortar yet. So it's going to be really important for me to have a place to have everything sent to. I did do little Wonder Woman soap.
Oh God, those are so cute.
Then I have one more rose that I fell in love with.
And here it comes.
It is the pink one.
And the little person in the background, you can introduce her too.
Yes, this is my daughter, Ella. Come here. Well, finish the bite of mac and cheese in your face.
Oh yeah, that one came out really cute. Yeah, there's Ella. Hi, Ella.
She's 8.
So,
unbelievable.
Yeah, Ella's great. Okay, good. Sandy, what are you taking away with you today?
Well, I need to get a mapping pen. I didn't know anything about that.
Oh, wow.
And actually, when we first started talking about it today, I thought it was just something that we automatically had.
No.
Like, because, Google just knows where we are, So I don't really understand how to get it. Do I have to apply to Google for it?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just Google, how do I get a mapping pen? And then see what it says.
You're going to just really, so I just put it in there, right? How to put your business, oops, I just sent it to Kathy instead of you. Hold on. I'll send it to everyone, right? Right. Put your business on Google, right? Just how to put your business on Google, and then you just start putting it in. It's about a week-long process for the first one.
Okay.
So don't be annoyed, because they're going to let you put it in, but they're not going to let it execute until, and you already have an office.
Right. Yeah.
So you already have an office. You may be in there, but you may not have been claimed.
Got it. Okay.
But they have to go through that mail procedure. They'll mail me something. Okay. Well, it's a federal requirement.
Okay.
So, they can't, thank you, the Postal Service.
Yeah.
So these are laws that are much bigger than all of us.
Yeah. So I'll do that. And then,
but I would actually Google search the name of your business and see what comes up on Google. And then I would click, there's a note on there. If you click into it, it says, is this your business? Claim it.
Okay. I did type in Cleveland Realty and it came up like in a different state. But if you scroll down, then it just has my name and Remax results. So anyway, I'll take a look at it.
There you go. There's your homework this month.
I got homework. Okay.
Christine, what are you taking away today?
You have to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Okay, can you hear me? So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much, but I think what I'm taking away is one, taking my testimonies that I already have on Google and my website and making a recognizable, consistent graphic out of it that I can share on
Branded.
social media. That's just like brilliant. And then I was going to ask, like, once they've shared that testimony, I can do that, right? Or do I have to ask them again if I can share it on social media?
No, they've already
Okay.
given it to you.
Yeah. And then actually, I really kind of love the idea. I'm actually working on my branding right now. And we're in the process of like wrapping it up. And I kind of like the idea of using a Fiverr. I've used it in my past business, but Fiverr, just to come up with like some consistent branding. So I love that. And the hashtag stuff was amazing as well.
Okay, good. I love it. Okay, Donna, you gave us yours, but I know there's more.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely that rescuing my reviews from the little towers that they're stored in. You know, one is on Amazon, and then there's this other one and this obscure website. So going and rescuing them and branding them with this Canva tool or Over tool or whatever. And this hashtag thing, like even the My Match, you know, hashtag yummy. That's that. Getting more keywords that are just basic and actually I've even done this and it helped me understand hashtags was to follow the hashtags of my core values in one word, core value, hashtag your core value, and you get to see how other people, you know, what gets tagged with other people who have this thing, and it might not be their core value, but obviously they must be into it if they're tagging it. And that really helped me understand. And the beauty of Instagram is it's so easy to unfollow. Like it's so easy to follow and then you're like, I hate this one, I'm going to unfollow it. You know, just you can, like, I don't know, it's not as easy on Facebook, I find, but Instagram is just like, I'm in, now I'm out. Like I've joined for 20 minutes and been like, you suck, I'm gone. And or look at their collage and be like, oh, this, I want in on this, or like, oh, too many women's breasts, I'm not going to sign up for that. Like, how, you know, anyway, it is to say to get shorter, more generic words out there. I love, like, yummy is a great example.
Yeah, I like that. What I'm going to take away and kind of point out to everybody else out of what you just said was, right, to understand that collage, right? That intercepting, you know, a lifestyle shot, a review, a whatever, you know, really understanding that collage.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of how you can kind of build it. People can kind of move through that feed. And that's that evergreening of that content.
Could I just say, I've seen people start so many tags with, I haven't posted in a while. And it's like, you know what? We don't care. And nobody's keeping track. Just post. Like when I do post again, it's going to be like a freaking year since I posted. Hey, I am not going to start it. I know it's been a while. It's like, no,
just post.
It doesn't matter out there. I've got a collage. No, you're just going to hear from me again. That's all.
Yeah. And that, I think that's the right attitude. I think you're right on. Okay. Janet Mills, give us what you're taking away.
That testimonials should have a giant digital life.
Yeah.
And I liked what Kathy said, that she likes to ensure a positive customer experience and that the resulting testimonial is worth much more than another $75.
Right. Jamie, and what are you walking away with?
I am walking away with that I probably am going to figure out how I can work Mickey in my budget because I got a lot of work to do. Like, I don't even know how to say this better, but I'm on a verge of crossing a financial threshold, and I think if I'm able to put a few things in motion that I'll be able to do that. And I'm just really coming to realize that I don't even know if I have the brain capacity to do what you would pay Mickey to do.
Right.
So that's the first thing that I'm taking away. And then like the reviews and hashtag is definitely important. You know, that thing that you were saying on that one post about like giving your, I think did it say abstract, or giving your customers something to kind of look forward to. It talked about the party at the end of the thing. So I do give,
I want you to know I added that for you.
Oh, I do give my clients at the end of the year a yacht ride, and it's always a themed yacht ride. Like it was like the chocolate soiree, so it was like a big dessert yacht ride, and I had a player, so I do that. But one of the things why I use my realtor is because he gives me free 2 tickets to the state fair every year and $20, and I love it. It comes in a card to say thank you, and you know, I don't use him all the time, and I get it every year, and he gives it to all his customers, and I think that's the greatest thing.
So good, right? That consistency, right?
Yeah.
I don't even use them every year, but you give them to somebody every year, I bet.
I do. A lot of people, just because I get the state fair ticket.
Yeah, and that gave him everything anyway, right?
Yeah.
So when you start to look at what I want you to take away, so I did put that in today's class just for you. The other thing that when we look at what's going forward, we started out with this concept, which I think is important for you, Jamie, and is really focusing in on the who, not the how, right? Is who can I get to help me do some of these chores or some of these concepts, and not the how am I going to do it. And you have been such a bootstrapper of, you know, just get it done, get it done, get it done. I think that's a good piece for you to walk away with today. And Mary Sage, I could see that being really appropriate for you as well, because you are also the queen bootstrapper. You know, you'll just get it done. You'll just get it done. Karen, what are you walking away with today?
Well, I'm looking at Jamie and I'm thinking, you know, I'd really like a back seat full of wonderful balloons.
Right.
Well, I think that the pin is interesting, and I'm trying to figure out how that could work. But the hashtags have always been a mystery to me. I know when I click on them, I go a place I wasn't expecting. So on every one of them. So it's kind of interesting. I've never really examined how to do a hashtag myself, but I know people use them a lot. I hate it when there's 15 hashtags after something. I just hate that, because you never know which one to click on first.
Look at them. Just gets there. It's all inspiration. It is a list of inspiration that one of them you've never thought of. Like
right, that's true.
I actually love the huge lists. I don't click on them, but I look at them. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I never thought of that association.
Yes.
Like, you can just see how people's minds are working.
That scares me.
And what I like about the vernacular in general, right, is just that we all laughed at hashtag fail, right? Right? Hashtag fail. It just brings another piece to it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I think we are finishing exactly on time today. Are there any last questions that anybody has for me? All right. Well, the feed is there. I thank you so much. I'll tell you what I'm taking away from today is that, again, it's so good. You guys have so many good ideas for each other, and you always inspire me personally, but it's really inspiring to watch you do well. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mickey.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you next month.
Thank you.
We're Mary, we're on the first Wednesday of the month always.
Okay. Thanks, Karen.
Yes. Nice to see you again. And I saw a daughter in there.
Yeah.
How did
She
that
looks a
happen
lot
so
like
fast?
you.
Time flies, Mickey.
Oh my Lord. That was that right there. This little darling here. That was my bitch slap today. Wow. Wow. I mean, we were
She's
just,
a mini me. She
I
looks
know,
just
but
like
she
you.
was just, you know, interested in freckles. You
Well,
know,
you
where did
look like
freckles
her.
come from?
He's my business
Bye
partner.
bye.
Oh, good. There
Yeah.
you go. All right. I'll see you
Absolutely.
guys later.
All right, sounds
Bye.
good. Bye.
Bye.